We are rolling. Hey, everybody, this is Brian Lucia along with Daryl Smith. Daryl, the Vice President of Marketing and Field Development for Joyrides, and we are so excited to be with you tonight. Another business overview. We'll continue to do these a lot as we make our way to our pre-launch, our launch, moving into new cities, new states, and hey, Daryl, eventually new countries.
That's right. That's right. That's the goal. You got to take your first step, but we're about to take that first step, and then you never know where that first step can lead you. So yeah, we look forward to wherever that journey will take us. But looking forward to the first step right now.
Yes. And that first step is going to be, and we'll talk about this at the end as well. The first step will be Wednesday. We're going to do a webinar at 11:30 Central Time, 12:30 Eastern, on Wednesday, this Wednesday, the 4th, where we will officially open up the ability for independent marketing reps to join Joyride. So, Daryl, we had the pre-launch event on 2/22 of 2020, right? And then March 4th will be another big date. So we'll start checking those boxes of all those dates.
Yeah, it's exciting for Wednesday. We've been doing lots of testing. I think today we were going through the testing with Zoom, and if you already had a pre-existing account, how that would look. And so we're still working through all the testing of that, and just crossing the T's and dotting the I's here. Getting ready for Wednesday, as Brian said, and we'll go through those details about how you set it up. So we'll get those as we go. So as long as you can hear me, I see people asking you can't see me. That's fine. You don't have to see me. You can just hear me. So I don't know what if.
I don't know if they can see us in the corner, but that's okay. We'll pop on so you guys can see us here shortly. Let's go through some of the information, and then because I know there's a lot of people who, every time we do one of these, are going to have new people looking at this for the first time, saying, "Hey, what is Joyrides, and what is it we do?" And Joyrides is in the rideshare industry, of course. Let's see if I can get this thing to. There we go. Daryl, can you see that okay?
I cannot. I just see you now.
Okay, good. I just had to make sure it wasn't locked up. Let's try this, and then we'll share again, and we'll get that up and running. There we go. All right. So you couldn't see our faces. I think you can in the corners, but you might have to do something to your screen. But here's our names for those of you who are joining us for the first time. We are excited to bring you this information. Again, we talked about the rideshare industry, and the thing that I think people who take an Uber or Lyft may not realize how massive those companies have become. And just to get a feel for things, we wanted to throw some statistics at you guys that you're looking at 60 million rides per month just out of those two companies in the United States. It's significantly higher than that worldwide, but just in the U.S., 60 million rides per month. So there's that first line, Daryl. I won't read every single line, people can read, but the one that hits, just baffles me and how quickly it's happened is Uber. On that second to last bullet, Uber is now in 80 countries, 600 cities. And so, I think for a lot of people, time flies and you don't realize, has it been a long time? Has it been a short time? But it's been about 12, 13 years, since Uber started. And, people have asked me, well, do you think you can compete with these companies? And we don't have to necessarily compete. I think that whatever term you use, I always use the example that there's a Walgreens and a CVS, across the street from each other in a four-way intersection, or a Home Depot and a Lowe's. There's plenty of people out there, for everyone. And here's one of the things I want people to grasp is how massive the industry already is. But when we talk about being ground floor, it's not just that Joyrides is a brand new company and you have the ability to be on the ground floor, the beginning stages of our company. It's really the paradigm shift of the rideshare industry and becoming more and more prevalent in a part of people's lives. You see, the little article talks about that, and then the graph at the bottom. This last year, $73 billion in rideshare in just a few short years. You can see the projections of a $220 billion industry. And Daryl, I'll stop there and let you add on to that as we go to the next slide and let you pick up from there, that it's so commonplace to some aspects of our society and still rather new to others.
It is. I always kid you about this a lot of time. Like back when we were younger, this was considered hitchhiking. You never took a ride from a friend or someone
Right.
you know. Now because of technology and things like that, it's become commonplace. A lot of people don't even have a vehicle anymore. That's the way especially the younger group of people out there. But I think it's really interesting here about the referred by a friend. Uber, Lyft, they didn't advertise. They didn't do it. It was done by word of mouth from a grassroots movement from place to place to place. Matter of fact, someone I think on one of our social feeds the other day said, "Hey, aren't you guys gonna be nationwide?" They're like, "No, we're not. We're not gonna be nationwide at the beginning because just like Uber and Lyft, they went city by city by city, and that's what we're going to do. I wish we could be statewide. That'd be massive to do that right off the bat, but that's not how we're going to do it. I think also what I'll take from this, Brian, is you and I have been in the direct sales for a number of years now. And the direct sales, you've seen this shift of tide. You've seen some shifting in that sector a lot. And a couple of things about that. People are like, where's something new? Is there anything new out there that's never been done before? And people were doing Uber and Lyft, but they weren't doing the direct sales. They were doing this thing called Uber and Lyft, this sharing economy, the collaborative economy is what we're calling it. And I think that's what we saw. So our idea was kind of like, hey, instead of trying to compete with it, let's join it. And that's what we just took the best of all the different worlds to do that. But referring a friend is, hey, isn't that great? That's exactly what we do in direct sales. We refer a friend, and that's how this whole thing got started. And so that's what's cool about that. So, and I think also, I'll take back to you, Brian, on this one is no matter where you come from, no matter where if you're just a driver and that's all you want to do, if you're in direct sales and, or if you've never done direct sales before, or you just want to be a passenger, we really have built something here that fits all those. You can be one of these, you can be two of these, you can be three of these, and they all fit together. We didn't just do it looking at, it can be where you start. Today, you may be a passenger and you start, then you turn into a driver, and then you turn into an IMR, or you start as an IMR, you don't want to drive, that's fine. So all these elements, no matter where you're at in life, you're a part of this. And before I'm passing it back to you, Brian, I do want to cover one little thing here. If you are in direct sales and you're part of another company, if you're out there, no matter where the industry's at, we support that. We want you to, this is something you can add on to what you're already doing. That's our philosophy, is that we love the companies, especially the companies we've been a part of. And once you continue to support those companies, because we sure do, and still we respect them and love them, just add this onto it. Okay. When you go to their events or their meetings, you've been probably taking an Uber or Lyft. Well, now you'll just take a Joyride. And so that's always important for us that we do that. We love that this is just something you can add on, or if you've never been direct sales, hey, you can do that too. Or if you just want to become a driver and stay a driver, you can do that too. So thinking a soapbox here, Brian, but I'll let you take it from here on this part of it.
Yeah, no, I think, what you just described is the gig economy. Everybody out there is looking for more money, and it's not just one thing. And that's what made Uber what it is, Airbnb. And when we talk about the collaboration or the collaborative economy, we feel we have the perfect collaboration, kind of the perfect trifecta, right? Where everybody works in unison or symbiotically with each other when it comes to the rep whose role for us, quite frankly, is just like it says, independent marketing rep is our reps will go out and gather or find drivers and passengers. They're the marketing arm of Joyrides. And then from a passenger standpoint, that person just has the ability to support their friend, and when they take a ride with Joyrides versus another company. And then drivers might want to be both, right? I mean, obviously, if you're a rep, you're going to probably 99.99999% be a passenger and take rides, right, with your own company. And drivers may decide they only want to be a driver, and then they may decide they want to be a rep as well. So when you look at this screen, the collaboration is that it's a win-win-win. It's a true peer-to-peer economy, and that's what the collaborative economy is. One of the things we're most excited to bring to the world is that we have two really unique compensation plans that can act very separately, or can, I guess you could say, be paired together, Daryl. The driver referral program is exclusively just for drivers, and then the compensation for our independent marketing reps. But if a driver who's an active driver decides to be a rep, they can take part in both of those plans.
Yeah, you'll hear us refer to the driver referral program as a DRP. And really what really the essence of the company is like, that's where people ask, what's the problem you're trying to solve? It was really that the driver was underappreciated, underpaid, under-recognized. And that's what we really started with, that part. So the DRP was like, hey, how can we compensate the driver for all their efforts and be loyal? And what's great about this is you don't have to stop. You're a driver right now for Lyft or Uber. You can continue to do that. Just add this on. And so also we knew that, hey, there's a lot of people out there that aren't drivers. Like, hey, I'd like to participate and go out and find passengers and drivers, but I'm not a driver at this time, or don't care to be a driver. That's great too. You have to, that's become an IMR. And then other people I always ask, like, well, I don't know any drivers. I can promise you, I've always said this. I've taken, since we've talked about this idea, taken a lot of Uber and Lyft drivers, and it's what they call it, the elevator pitch. You get in the car with an Uber Lyft driver and you just tell them what this thing's about. You know, tell them about the DRP. And I think almost 98% every driver said, yeah, I'd love to do it. I'd love to participate in it. And that's so if you don't need drivers, promise you, they're out there. They're easy to find and easy to talk to. So,
well, and the reason that the driver's currently driving is they're looking for more income. That's the gig economy that we talked about, whether it's a secondary or sometimes third ability for them to make some money, or many of them have loved the autonomy of being able to drive when they want and like that as a full-time option, a full-time career. So we've met a lot of those people. Darryl, why don't you continue to talk about the DRP and getting started? We'll talk a little bit about how the compensation is, then we'll move into the IMR.
Yeah, I've been through this process and, went through and signed up as a driver for Uber and Lyft. And I know anyone can do that. You can sign up and there's no fee for that one. For ours, there is a $29 driver fee that covers an extensive background check, does all that, the MVR, the background, everything that goes along with that. And also to make sure that people that want to do it, that also they know they want to do it, and they would put up. We debated about this. I mean, there's some companies that may have said, hey, let's charge a high number, but this was to cover the background checks. The extensive part of that is what we're looking at. So sorry about that. And so that's what we were trying to do. And you kick me off real quick, Brian. But that's what that fee's for, is that's part of it, was the background check, the MVR and stuff like that. So that's what we were trying to accomplish when we set that up.
All right, so let's talk about how the driver referral program works. And it is just as simple as the name sounds. It's about referring other drivers. A driver has the ability to earn a commission when other drivers drive that they have referred to Joyrides. And so hence the name, the driver referral program. In this example, we'll just use Joe here, who he referred, and you can take it literal or just however many people he referred. He has the ability to get paid on the personal referrals that he refers to Joyrides, but through 3 total levels. So when those people refer others who refer others, Joe, who started that referral process, is going to get paid a portion or a commission when those other drivers drive. Now, Darryl, I'm going to have to work on this presentation and do more of a description of CRV before we get to this slide. But CRV stands for commissionable ride value. Commissionable ride value. So in every ride, whether it's a $13 ride or an $83 ride, there is a CRV attached to that fare, right? And then the CRV is paid out. For instance, it's not 10% of the whole ride. So if it's a long ride from, say, Fort Worth to Dallas, and it's an $80 ride, it's not 10% of $80. There'll be a CRV attached to that. But I will tell you that if you just want to take just for math purposes, I mean, and the CRV will move with, up and ebb and flow with each ride. But let's just use $1 for an example. Imagine 10 cents, 2 cents, 5 cents on, hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of rides in time. We really do believe in the numbers that we've been running, that drivers will make as much or possibly more, depending on how many referrals they have and how often they drive. We think they're going to do very well when they're not driving than when they are. And Darryl, I'm going to use a real world example. I had somebody yesterday actually it was on Saturday, who asked me to speak to a friend of theirs who's a big time driver. And that driver told me that he had had a big day on Friday, that he had gone, several hours of driving for another rideshare company. And he said he was so exhausted, and he did well and made some pretty good money, that he was taking Saturday off. And so as he was asking me questions about how our program worked, I said, well, just so you understand that you did great yesterday. You had several rides, but if we were already up and running and you were a part of our driver referral program, all the drivers that you referred and the drivers they referred through 3 levels, on this Saturday night, when you're sitting at home taking a break because you worked hard for several days, when those drivers are out driving, you would be earning money while you're sitting at home. And it really hit home with him. And that's where, when I see this picture, it just gets me excited for these drivers. Now, again, and I'm gonna let you chime in here to see if there's anything I missed. For drivers who are looking at this, remember, you don't have to be an IMR. You don't have to do the network marketing building of a team if you don't choose to. You just refer drivers. And Daryl, you've said it best. I'll tee you up here. As we've been looking at this over months and months and months, and we're excited about everything about our company. This is the one caveat that we know is the difference maker. And we like it because nobody has to get out of their comfort zone. Drivers are already driving and they're talking to other drivers. So you don't do anything different. After you tell them, hey, download the JoyRides app and drive for them, and then tell some other people, that's as simple as it can get.
It is. And drivers will get paid just like they normally do when, but the normal compensation they know for miles and time and things like that they get paid for, and just referring other drivers. That's really the key to it is, and they see drivers, talk to drivers all the time, whether or not they're in queue at the airport, things like that. And again, you're not asking them to leave Uber or Lyft or, another rideshare company possibly. Just add this on, and they love the idea of just adding something on and showing loyalty to us. And we also built it where, some people, that's where they want to start. Okay. They want to put in $29, and that's an annual fee. And they do that. But later on, they say, you know what, this is really great. And maybe I wanted to maybe I do want to become an IMR. And so we also built that with in mind of what if they were a driver and then later on became an IMR and how that works. So we worked that too. But it really is cool when you see this part of it, because a lot of ways the driver for us, and this is where we could really go off the deep end here with you and I, because we've whiteboarded this so many times. But the driver referral program, it's part customer if you look at it, and it's part IMR. It's a little bit of both. So as wherever you're at, that thing grows and grows and grows. If you're the IMR, that one driver, Joe, your driver, really all those drivers that Joe brought, it's part of your driver too. I mean, all of that is coming to you. We'll talk about that. That's what's really cool. Is that thing grows.
If you're not, and I have a graphic. If you're an IMR and you referred Joe's in it for the DRP. But if he's the driver who's your personal referral, right, then you're also making income on his drives as the IMR. And that's a good little tee up, D. Thanks. Nice. Good segue.
There you go.
So what do you got to do to be an IMR? Well, you talked about an elevator pitch, and this is really, we wanted everything to be simple when we started this company. And just, hey, we have a compensation plan. How would you like to earn commissions when drivers drive and riders ride? And it's just a matter of having people download the app. And I love our little tagline there, Daryl. We think it's fair to share the fair. And that goes back to that collaboration where everybody's winning in this, right? Normally $329 to get started as an independent marketing rep, but we do have a pre-launch special as we are getting the company started for just $249. As an independent marketing rep, we mentioned that you get paid on both drivers driving and the passenger taking a ride. So Daryl, I'm going to walk through this, jump in here. If there's something you want to touch on, I'll get it all the way up here for everybody, and then we'll let you summarize. But again, when we say that you can get paid on both the driver and the passenger, it depends as you build an organization. At any one time when a ride is taking place, one of those people, the driver or the passenger, may be somewhere in your organization, maybe somebody's personal customer, maybe your personal customer. So here's how this would pay out. So as soon as the ride transaction comes to an end, the computer says, okay, which IMR, independent marketing rep, referred this driver? And that rep would earn a 10% of the CRV on that particular ride. And then it says, well, we're going to pay 4 levels of a unilevel type payout, right? Unilevel compensation. And you can see that that can be, when you start thinking about this, Daryl, over time, when people have huge organizations, those 5s and 8s, I mean, there's some serious income potential there. And of course, we have 4 leadership positions. I know as you're a leader who's helping building a team, helping teach and train and get people moving and helping out your organization, you'll be compensated when those rides take place. Now, notice that over where it says passenger, this is 2 different lineages. And where we're excited is, we don't know that, other than this rideshare world, that it's ever been, I guess, a direct selling company that's had 2 different lineages paid on a transaction. And so we've put the most money possible out of this CRV to the referring IMR of the passenger. And a couple of different reasons why. And while I talk, I'll go ahead and click the buttons, Daryl, and fill these out, and everyone can see that, the lineage or the organization being paid is the same for both the driver lineage and the passenger lineage, other than for the referring IMR, that passenger. And one of the reasons we really emphasize this in our early, as you said, Daryl, whiteboard sessions, man, a lot of hours with dry erase markers on a whiteboard. But we wanted to really make sure that somebody who's going to have a lot of desire to earn income doesn't necessarily have to go build a huge team. For some reason, a lot of people have phobia versus talking to someone about a business, right? You mentioned the elevator pitch, but for whatever reason, they're great at having their friends maybe purchase product if they're the essential oils lady or whatever it is. And I think the simplicity of our business is all you have to do is have a friend download the JoyRides app and take rides. And when you're the one who had them download the app and they take rides, you earn 25% CRV on every one of those rides. And so we know, Daryl, that there's people that might have a whole lot of personal customers, right, who are taking rides, but they didn't want to build a team. So we wanted to incentivize them with that larger payout than most.
Yeah, it really was an important part of what we wanted to do. That you and I've seen this in other things we've done in our past, where even to sign someone like a certain customer, electricity customer, or something, you had to go through a lot of processes just to get to that point, and you get paid, from 25 cents to 50 cents to a couple dollars on that. That's only 12 times a year. When you look at this, you're seeing, well, what do you ask someone to do? They just downloaded the app as their friend and family, and someone, hey, next time instead of taking Uber or Lyft, try my company. And that's what you have to do. So it's time, effort, resources that you put into something. And now you have to take it seriously. I mean, you want to follow up with people, not they just because they download the app doesn't mean they'll just jump on. But you want to follow up with them and do your part as an IMR. That's what you're asked to do, is to, it's your connection, them. Right. When they take that ride, if the passenger, and they put your phone number in there and it's yours, that's, you're getting 25% of that CRV off of that ride. And I don't know who you are or how much money you have to have, but if I pick up my phone, and this will happen someday soon, and you look up and, if you've seen when you order an Uber Lyft, you see a bunch of cars driving around. Well, just think about that. If that was your cars and they're taking drives, and you can see those are your drivers, and you can see passengers in those cars, those are your passengers, and you see that you're making money. I don't know what that would be to you, depending on where you're at, and you've seen that around. I don't know who you are, how much money you have to not resonate with you, but I would think that'd be like, how cool is that? Like, just think about that right now. We're launching part of Dallas, but as Brian talked about, you look down the road and think of other states and countries, and you pull up an app and seeing that activity of something that you built and started, and seeing that going on, and every one of those vehicles and cars around, you're making some sort of commission off that. That's pretty cool. And I don't know who else has something like that. That's what makes it pretty cool with what
I want to hit the fast forward button and see that, because I know with Paul in our early talks of our great back office reporting and some of the reports that we liked, and he said, yeah, just imagine we'll be able to have little cars where someone will pull up their own organization and see live activity of those cars and be able to tell someone, yeah, see all these cars? I'm getting paid a commission on all those rides. That's great. Daryl, while we're here talking about commissions, this is really the starting block for independent marketing reps is, become qualified to earn income. Starts with gathering customers, right? And so who are our customers? Well, they're both the passenger and the driver. And you can see that you have to have 30 qualified points in your first 28 days when you start. And just a little heads up that we're not gonna start the clock. I mentioned that IMRs can start pre-launching on Wednesday by getting enrolled, but we won't start that clock until we go live in Dallas, right? And we'll reference that at the end. But just so you can kind of see some examples of what are points, qualified points. What does that mean? Well, in this example, it says you need 3 unique RT level drivers. And RT level just means ride transaction. These are people you personally referred in this example that you're looking at. Well, in this case, you have a couple of passengers and a driver who you brought on. And here's how those points work. The very first ride that a passenger takes gives you a point total of 5 points, and then it's 1 point thereafter. A driver's first ride is worth 20 points, and then 1 point thereafter. So here's kind of an example. Well, if you're trying to get 30 points, you can see how quickly that can happen when your passengers are worth 5 and the 20 points for the driver. Let me give you another example though. So here's what you just looked at. And we're gonna say, okay, how do I get 30 points? From 3 unique passengers or drivers. Now, it can be any combination of passengers or drivers. It could be all passengers if you don't know a lot of drivers. It might be a couple of different drivers. And the unique doesn't mean that you have to be the one who personally enrolls them. In this example, remember Joe, the driver that was in the driver referral program that Daryl referenced? Well, if you're the one who told Joe about Joyrides and you had him download the driver app and he put in your information, either you'll have what's called a J number, an account number, or even your cell phone number will work. Well, once he onboards by putting your information in, then he's attached to you. And as Joe is referring to others, you can see that you are getting credit for those rides, right? As far as points go, but also for commissions. And so I like this visual, Daryl, to where it shows it doesn't have to necessarily be, when we say 3 unique, as you're in a hurry to get started and you're really excited about the business, it could take off literally just this fast.
Yeah. I mean, it's the 3 unique aspects of it. We talked about that. And as you can see there, the driver he sponsored 3 other drivers, but those other 2 are unique. Really, they're all unique to you because they're unique drivers or passengers. So that counts as your 3 unique aspects of it. And the fast start, really, if you looked at it, it's kind of the belief level of it that if you don't do it, if you don't trigger it in your first 28 days, we have a 28-day 4-week rolling clock. We don't have a 30-day clock like maybe some of you are used to. But it was really in there for, hey, if I go out there and do this and I'll start a little motivation to get started with a $25 bonus. But, if you don't do it, I understand that, and it's just a one-time thing that you can hit and what it pays out. But it's really belief check. It's cool to get that, happen. You do something in the first couple of hours that you're in the, you can get a bunch of people, passengers, download the app and take rides maybe that night, or a driver, you sign up and they take rides the next day. It can happen that fast. So that's really what the fast start bonus is all about.
Yeah. So once you've got your business started, you have your fast start. Obviously, if you want to get paid on, several rides versus the greatest thing is I love the J. Paul Getty quote, right? I'd rather get paid on 1% of the effort of hundreds than 100% of my own effort. And as you share the business opportunity of becoming an independent marketing rep with other people, if you help them get started and they get that fast start triggered in their first 28 days, you're the one that helped them, then you can earn a business builder bonus for getting them started. So you can see just out of the gate how quickly that can happen and you're off and running. Daryl, I was looking at the time. We'll continue to build a compensation plan, trainings, and we'll go deep dive into those. Right now, it's about helping people understand the business from a 50,000-foot overview to see if they want to get started in our pre-launch. But just know that there are 4 leadership positions, as we referenced earlier when you saw the ride transaction commissions. And so obviously, as you grow with the company and you rank advance, it just means more income, no different than the job you might have when you get a promotion. And Daryl, I like one of the reasons we chose these monikers, these names. It's just like a sales team that, somebody's an area director, regional, and, they get a bigger territory and they're a zone director, and then, hey, nationwide, and who knows, maybe, international or global. We never know. We never know.
Yeah, we didn't want to have a bunch of different positions that people, hey, I get it. It's for me to get to the very top right now. And so this is also what, I don't know if you get it later on, but this is an open line model. It's not a coded model. It's not a binary model. This was a open line model, which is, at first it took me for a second, oh, okay. It's not complicated by any means. It's very simple as you build, and it just unlocks more and more for you instead of being everything's all in one group like a coded model is. That's not what this is at all. You just unlock more and more as you move, and you really use for the people you sign up on the first day to the last day, they all count the same. So that was really important for us, because we've seen what happened in other models where, people sign up all their best people, but they want to use them later on. And so that's not an open line model. So it's really cool how this thing was built. So again, this is a one-time bonus that you can get it. It's triggered off the fast start, but you can get this is a lot of fun. You get a lot of weekly checks in here, and that's what this is all about. So
yeah, and we're so excited about the open line. If you've ever been in, there's pros and cons to every type of compensation plan. Anyone can figure out what they don't like about one versus the other. But when you've lived some of the other things that you and I have, the coded comp plan, it always, people don't have enough stamina a lot of times, because you rank advance and then you got to start all over again. Which the best way I've been able to explain it to people with an open line is, when you rank advance, say from area director to regional director, you don't start over. You bring that organization along with you, and you just unlock more money on the activity that continues to take place. It's not like you leave people behind. And so it's really exciting from that standpoint. The other thing that we don't have on here that we'll do when we do compensation trainings is we have a second and third generation on both the bonuses and the commissions. So that's extremely exciting. So we've referenced our back office a couple times. The virtual office is where you'll actually have the all-encompassing reports. So the virtual office consists of your website, an enhanced dashboard. We're calling it the dashboard. A lot of puns in this business. And the thing that we're really excited about is that every single subscriber to the virtual office will get a personal Zoom account. Obviously, we're on a Zoom webinar right now. We didn't make this up. We got this number from the Zoom people, our account executive who has worked with us, and it's actually significantly higher than $250 a month, Daryl. I just left it at $250. But just so people understand, you'll have the ability to have a 500 participant webinar. Webinar is what we're doing tonight. Or if you want to have a video meeting where you literally can see every single person on the screen, these will be great for team meetings. But if it's just you on a one-on-one with a prospect across the country to show them what you're doing, you can do that as well. And unlimited cloud storage, which is really big. And that's the benefit there is it's super expensive to have that through Zoom's normal offerings. I think the most people can get is 1 gig of storage. But think about it, if you're doing Zooms with a team multiple weeks of the year, and you want to go back to one from 3 months ago and rerun it because it was a great interview with somebody on your team, you'll have that in storage. So it's really great. The dashboard and the website we'll talk about now. Here's kind of a glimpse of the website. We're actually even fine-tuning a couple of things. But we're really excited about the simplicity, how bright and happy it is. Obviously, with a name like Joy, we want everything to have a utopian, fresh, good feeling. And then it's simple, Daryl. People want to learn more about becoming a driver, they click on Learn More. As of right now, we have the Enroll Now button on there. With our launch of the driver app, which will be coming probably in a week or two, they'll have to go to the driver app and download it. But one of the things we're looking to do is to be able to get the initial part of the onboarding done online if they'd like to, but that's down the road in kind of a phase 2. Becoming a customer, literally as easy as downloading the app. I want to interject a story here real quick, not to throw my brother under the bus, because he was asking a question that I took for granted that I think maybe other people are asking. And last night he said, well, if people take a ride, how do you get credit for it? And I said, well, when they download the app, they put your phone number or your account number in, and then when they take a ride, you get a commission. He goes, so they got to put the number in every time? I go, no, just when they download the app, it'll ask them who the referring independent marketing rep is. They put your information in, and then when they start taking rides, then you get commission. So don't overthink this, guys. It's as simple as someone downloading the app. And of course, as Daryl said, they got to take a ride. You don't get paid just for somebody to download the app. And if they're taking rides with another company, they just become your customer with Joyrides. Anything on that before I go to the dashboard, D?
No, go ahead. There's a couple things I want to touch on, but just go ahead and we'll
okay, yeah, we'll roll through this. So just a little screenshot of your back office dashboard. There, everyone will have, if someone doesn't choose to purchase the subscription for the virtual office each month, you saw that we have a special at $9.95 for the, basically the first billing cycle. And as Daryl said, we don't do things by the month. We do them by 28-day, 4-week cycles. And we don't want people to have to pay the $27.50 this first out of the gates once we get started. So when you start enrolling on Wednesday night, if you decide to, the reason we have that is we know that a lot of you are going to want to start using your Zoom to start building your business. So that's why we reduce that. It's probably the most comprehensive, easiest to use back office system in the industry that I've seen. And we're really excited getting to create this thing, and it will evolve. Daryl, I'll let you talk about that this is a living organism that we will continue to evolve.
Yeah, it's a great system I'm very familiar with that people can use. And I think it's I've seen flashy ones, I've seen bells and whistles, but they're never effective ones. And so that's what we know the system. And for those who know Paul Booth, our CEO, his company, this is his company. They do the back office. So it's great that we have those resources. So this really is a IT play. The marketing is what we've done, but the IT had to be part of this for the apps and the back office, and all those things had to happen. I don't know how anyone would ever do this without those things in place. And so that's what's there. And also, I saw someone ask this question earlier, because I know we're in Texas, and the Dallas-Fort Worth area is where we'll launch. If you live in another state and you want to join, we understand that. We tell people, I said, understand, if you're from another state, we're not currently in your state. As an IMR, you can join if you wish to, but just letting you know, we're not actively taking drivers and passengers in the area you are. And we don't know what the future will hold with other places. So you're free to join. And the monthly subscription, you don't have to do that. That's totally optional. You will get a website that you can have other people join through your website, but you don't have to pay the $9.99 special or the $27 when it turns into that if we're not in your area. Understand that completely, but you can join as an IMR at that time. I also understand too, as a driver, when we start enrolling drivers, they'll just be in Texas. You must be a resident with a driver's license from Texas to do that. The background checks is done with that in mind. So if you live in another state and you just become a driver, we're only doing the background checks in this area. Same thing happened to Uber, Lyft. They'll tell you the same thing. If they're not in that area, which they're almost everywhere now, but if they're not in your area, they'll say, hey, we're not in your area at this time. So that'll be just like for us.
Yeah, so we're excited about expansion. Obviously, we've already got some other states in place, both from insurance provider and licensing. Those will be coming, but I'm glad Daryl threw that disclaimer out there. There's people all over the country that want to be reps, but in order to trigger those fast starts, it would have to be on activity on rides here, and specifically to get started in the Dallas area. Real quick, Daryl, I'm going to go through these just so people can get an idea. The driver app will be the first app that we release here in another week or two, and people will download it on the Apple iTunes Store or the Google Play Store. Then you can see that they're the same, just a little different by the formatting of each of the two different providers there. So you see it says Joy Drive, and it's got a special look and feel versus the one that is for the Joyrides, our main app, right, that everybody will download. Real quick, while I come to an end, I want you to follow us on Facebook at Joyrides, which is 2 words. On Instagram, Joyrides is 1 word, and on Twitter at Joyride Nation. These are our corporate-facing pages. Go on there and like those. We also have a place for you right now, as we're having a lot of people who are excited and want a place to go to send people. We'll obviously post the recording of this webinar. There's another one there, and it's a good place for us initially to be able to reach out to people. And that's Joyrides Reps. It's a Facebook group that we've put together, and it is 3 words when you go to search for it. on Facebook. So Joyrides Reps. And hey, when you're out there talking to people and telling them how great it is through social media, a couple of great hashtags we want to get, obviously get trending on social media. So hashtag Joyrides and hashtag I choose joy. All right, Dee, I'm going to see if I can get out of this sharing mode, and we'll get on the big screen. And I would love to be able to respect people's time. We've gone 40 minutes. We'll try to keep this one. Last time we went about an hour. Let's keep this to 8:45 Central Time, and see if there's some questions. I do want to throw a couple things out that maybe we missed on. You know, somebody just texted me and said, "Hey, I'm glad it's not a." They said, "I'm glad it's not a coded comp plan." They're excited, and they said, "And I'm glad it's not binary." You know, everyone has their favorite flavor, right? But just so people realize that, you know, we think we've put together the best of all worlds, right? Where we have a little bit of a unilevel payout. We have the open line on both the commissions and the bonuses, and having second and third generation on both bonus money and on ride transaction commissions is huge. Is really great for, you know, longevity, especially as you have a huge team. And the thing I'll tell people is, my favorite thing about an open line is you don't have to hold people back. I'll never understand that, but there's always people that's like, well, I know this one lady and she is a guru, and man, I just got to hold her off until I can get promoted to a big time rank advancement. Not in this one, right? You want to bring everybody, and you want to personally enroll everyone you can. This is not something where you place people underneath others. You know, your contacts are your contacts. Their contacts are their contacts, and that's the best way to really explain it in a layman's term.
Yeah, it is. We've tried to build the best of everything, and it's exciting to see, especially the DRP. You know, if I was, understand a marketing rep's job is to go out and find passengers and drivers, okay, and then find other IMRs who want to do the same thing. That's your role. That's what you're asked to do. Drivers are asked to go out and find other drivers if that's what they want to do. They may just want to drive for joy, but that's to go out and do the DRP. They just sponsor drivers. They don't sponsor passengers. That's what an IMR does. The driver just goes out and finds other drivers for them to participate in the IMR aspect of it. There are some minimum requirements. The driver has to meet so many. It's not, they can do it in mostly likely in a night, maybe a week, to be qualified for that. But it's really cool to see that DRP, how that develops as that driver is going out there and finding other drivers, building his DRP or her DRP, making money off of when she's not driving or he's not driving. But you, the IMR, because you sponsored that driver, all that's coming to you, you know, depending on where it's at. But that's what's so cool about this is that DRP really is so different and so unique with what we can do out there. So that's what we're real excited about that aspect of it. But, you know, a couple of things also, as we went through this, and, you know, we take it very seriously. You know, I know the people that are behind the wheel and the people in the back seat of the passengers are friends, family, loved ones. Our friends and family loved ones are back there. And we take that very seriously, do the background checks, the insurance, all those things that we've gone through to make sure this thing's right. There's a lot of things we want to do as well. You know, we've talked about cameras, we've talked about beacons, we've talked about other things, another layer of safety that we want to do, and we'll continue to pursue those as we grow with the company. And so it's exciting to see where this thing is headed. But we'll not be perfect. I don't want to sit there and think that we've figured everything out, because we probably haven't. You know, we've sure done a lot. And that's what we've kind of the last couple of days here to make sure we got everything right to start this first phase in the pre-launch. But we'll learn a lot. And I think that's what's also great about this. What I've learned is you get great feedback, you know, and that's the breakfast of champions, right? To get honest feedback from people. Yes. And you hear about things we can do better, do differently. And that's truly what we want to accomplish here as we grow. This is what we do. You know, we're a rideshare company. And also we chose not to, you know, we saw the models out there and looked at other companies that had maybe looked at this before, is that we just want to be Joyrides, just Joyrides, and didn't want to go through the cumbersome aspects of offloading to somebody else. Didn't want to do that either. We just wanted to do it for our own. And so that's also, we'll start off very laser focused in the Dallas-Fort Worth area when we start, and it'll be grown organically from there. And also this is what we do know. I've launched other states, other countries in my former life, and I know what's the right thing to do, and fair to people. That that just because you may live in El Paso, Texas, but we may not be in El Paso, Texas for a while. And so how we treat those folks and their clocks and things like that. So we'll always do right by everyone and try to do the right thing when we can and be fair to everybody when we do this. So.
There's a lot of questions on that. You did a good job of hitting all those.
I tried to. So.
Yeah. So the fast start clock, again, for the launch, the fast start clock will not start on Wednesday, 2 days from now. The clock will start when we go live, and people have asked, well, what if I live in another state? Well, again, we're not going to promise anything because, we've said, hey, look, to trigger bonuses, it's got to happen in rides here. But as Daryl said, as we go into other jurisdictions, other markets, and we can easily pull up zip codes of IMRs and when their enrollment date is. We're going to always look to do the right thing and help people. And as far as restarting a clock or whatever it may be. So there's a lot of different things that can be done there. It's just really up to you that if you're starting somewhere else in the country and we're not in your state, it's a matter of, are you doing so just because you want to start building a team and be at the ground floor of something? Just, knowing that ahead of time. We even have a disclaimer on the enrollment, on our enrollment form, that when you click on any state but Texas, it's going to tell you that. That's Daryl and I and all the founders of this company. We're just straightforward people, and we're here for the long haul. We want you to be here. I had a talk with somebody today. I said, the people who see this and don't think, at the end of their nose, but think long term, it's going to be massive for people who can start building, and it's really exciting. A lot of the other questions coming in, Daryl, I'm going to hit a couple of those and then we'll end. People asking about insurance and about our app. Yeah, our app's going to be like what you're used to if you're a driver, right? The GPS and seeing the passenger information, all the different things that take place. The app
rating system. Yeah.
So yeah, we've patterned a lot of those things, and we'll have some newfangled things as well down the road. Insurance, people asking about insurance, that's really up to the driver and your own insurance provider. We have insurance, obviously, that we have to have, but individual drivers are responsible for their insurance. It's pretty much what it is with other rideshare companies as well. And it's always smart to check with your insurance provider. Some of them have different policies when they know that you're in a transportation environment. Daryl, any others that just jumped out to you that you might have seen on the list here?
No, they're great questions. Hey, there was a question that I didn't think that I wouldn't have an answer for, but we will write them down. This is recorded, so we can go back and see all these questions, and then we'll put this in our FAQs as we develop that. But yeah, just also for things like the IMR is the one that really gathers passengers. Passengers, just like anything, there's people out there refer the things. Passengers can refer the passengers, but they don't get credit for it. They don't get credit for that for the future either. Like, I'm a passenger, I referred a bunch of passengers, and later on I become IMR. Those passengers carry over? No, that's not how that would go. But if a passenger said, hey man, I tried this thing called Joyride, it's great, here's my friend's phone number, put it in there, then you, because they put your phone number, you'd get credit for it. That's how that would work in that scenario. So I also wanted to make sure we kept integrity of the relationship, that we didn't want a bunch of internet marketers, people out there. They have to have a relationship with someone. That was important for us. That you couldn't just go out there and a bunch of internet marketers who never knew anybody. They're just sending that won't fly with us.
Yeah, back to the relationships. Everything's based off of one market.
Yeah, because, we understand that the people are going to have to, we won't be like Uber or Lyft at the beginning. I mean, they've got cars. They have a lot more bigger fleet than we do. We'll get there, but we'll work our way up just like they did as well. And so that's what we're trying to, that's what we'll try to accomplish as we go. And we'll let you know what areas we start in and go from there. People ask about other states. We do have a license or the insurance already for like 4 or 5 of the states already. And when the time comes, when we're ready, we'll launch those other states. So.
All right. Great. A lot of great questions. Hope that you guys can join us 11:30 Central Time on Wednesday. We will put out the information for the Zoom on the Joyrides Reps Facebook page, the group, and also on the Joyrides Facebook page. Daryl, any last thoughts? I will tell you that it's it's kind of emotional and exciting knowing that we're going to be able to officially get things rolling on Wednesday.
Yeah, it is. I mean, tonight we always try to keep this down the middle, and we're very excited. We really are. Every day we're just, every time I see that Joyrides app, it brings a little joy to my heart about what we're doing. But it's a serious business, and we take it very seriously. We're working really hard with what we're doing, and we can't wait to get it out there and having you start sharing with us and being our partners. Because Brian and I and the whole crew here, we're working. We're your partners, and we want to be good stewards of our partnership and do the right thing with you guys as we grow with this thing. And we'll make a mistake along the way, but hopefully you'll appreciate our efforts and what we're trying to do and build this thing together. So it'll be a fun week, and I'm looking forward to it as we in this pre-launch phase. And before you know it, we'll be in the launch phase. So appreciate y'all's feedback and look forward to seeing everybody on Wednesday.
Yep, and just in case you didn't see my video this morning, kind of the chronology of events, that after we get the pre-launch going on Wednesday for independent marketing reps, probably next week we'll be able to announce that we're going to have the drivers app live, and then drivers will be able to start onboarding. That's exciting. And then Daryl, it's a couple of people have even asked on here, how many drivers do you have to have per market to be able to wait for the passengers? And that's something that we're gonna learn as we go, depending on the size of the city. But that's the old chicken or the egg. What came first? Got to have drivers to go pick people up, and we know that we got a huge following already. A lot of the drivers in this area were at the pre-launch event that we had. And it's going to be an exciting time. So we will keep you updated, obviously, for both that and when we're going to go live, where you'll be able to tell your friends about Joyrides and have them download the passenger app. But I would be telling them all about it now, because don't assume that somebody may not be interested. Everybody out there in this gig economy has been looking for a little extra money, and it's an exciting way. It's a very simple thing that doesn't take anyone out of their comfort zone. So thank you guys for being with us tonight. Sorry we went a little bit long. We are continuing to build some training information on a deep dive into the compensation plan and other things. But while we talk about training, just remember that the simplicity of this is what makes it work. Drivers that just want to refer some other drivers can get paid when those people drive. Independent marketing reps who want to find some drivers and some passengers and earn every time they take a ride. And it's really that simple. Don't overthink it. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you for trusting in us. And we look forward to a long journey with you. And it all starts on Wednesday. Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Enjoy your night.